Hey out there, this is Thursday, August 6th, 2020. And it is just about 8:25 in the morning here in Northern California. And today as usual I'll get into several subjects, but I like to focus on what I call psycho-spiritual economic, which economic automatically by default includes political matters. And I like to try to clear the air. I like to try to alleviate confusion, is what I do. But first of all, I wanted to talk about the weather we're having here. It's been brutally punishing hot for some time. And then yesterday we got a huge reprieve out of nowhere. And it barely got over 80 around here, which is a real treat. Put everybody in a really good mood temporarily, with what we're going through. And, I myself am a really uptight, I guess you'd say type A personality. And that's why it's so important for me to keep myself in check, and bring myself down to earth and not to be too self righteous, not to be too arrogant. And I'm glad that I could turn to a power that I refer to as God for advice, counsel on how to go about that. I want to be a nice guy all the time, and I just don't feel it. And the older I get, though, and the more I ask for something good, to not be self righteous is a good thing. I get it. I get more of it. And I've always been kind of you've heard of these people that are I told you so kind of person. Well, I'm not one of those people. And, I realized that was my choice a long time ago. But sometimes you see the end from the beginning in the system, this system that we're all coerced, basically forced from birth to adhere to conform, to comply to capitulate to, and told that's the pragmatic, practical, common sense approach. You just accept it on face value. You go along to get along. You take the path of least resistance. And if anybody tells you that you might be off track in your true values and what should be your main focus, your main priorities in life, and if anybody alludes to that, you get defensive and you just say, I don't want to think about that. And then you say, well, you know what? Wise men have said that ignorance is bliss, and I believe that. I prescribe to that philosophy. So anyhow, for guys like me, it's been really tough to watch things unfold. I do not take any delight in other people's trauma any more than I take delight in my own trauma. I don't like trauma. I like stability, like we all do, right? In our right minds, human beings want stability. They want to know what to expect. What's tomorrow bringing? They don't want unpleasant surprises. And we're all getting a huge dose of unpleasant surprise, and it does not make me happy to say I smelled this thing coming for some time. I mean, it scares me. I know I'm no prophet. I'm no seer. But I'm just looking at the signs and saying, hey, put two and two together and you study the Bible and you go, oh my God. I mean, it was predicted long ago that, man doesn't listen too well. And this whole idea that we need a big brother, okay, around the world, that we need this government, right? That's big brother. It's a religious tradition, really. So when people hate religion, the vast majority have no idea that really what they hate, like these the counterculture type people I'm referring to, that are anti-establishmentarian. What they're against is bad religion, and that's what governments are at this point. All they've done is facilitate, enable the criminals to loot the public. It's theft. It's slavery. That's all. It's the same thing. Slavery is all about economic defiance, economic injustice. It's about theft. You've heard of a kleptocracy. Well, I mean, that's it. It's fascist. Yes, when the government works against the best interests of the people at large, the population to which it's beholden to serve, okay, that makes it fascist. And that's what we got. They say, well, I know which side my bread is buttered on. In the bureaucracy, all the proxies and quasi affiliates to the government. Okay, and the only legitimate government, okay, the way the Constitution reads, is we the people, not we some of the people. It doesn't say we some of the people in there. But that's exactly what we got. We've got that. That's been going on for a long time. Okay, it's very privileged to a few, a handful, this critical mass that's required to get the job done. It's in the halls of Congress. Okay, the powers that be, the Senate, the executive branch, like Obama being very instrumental in facilitating that bailout of '08, getting that thing pushed through. I mean, these people call themselves liberals. They call themselves populists. They call themselves Democrats. They call themselves socialist type, like you infer automatically that they're egalitarian, right? And I'd like to believe that about the Democrats. It's just not true. The proof's in the pudding. These people are in cahoots with each other. Okay, bad congressmen, bad senators on both sides of the aisles, Democrats and Republicans, are working in cahoots against the best interests of American people. Anytime they tell you that it's good that the value of your money goes down because the value of the housing is going up, okay, these are liars. Okay, these are liars. Okay, they're beyond being idiots. Okay, these are dishonest people. They're disingenuous. They're lying to you. Okay, under true capitalism, progress dictates that the worth of your money goes up. This is all according to the law of supply and demand and progress in this industrial age, whereby it becomes easier and easier and easier to produce all the stuff humanity wants and needs. You understand? So fundamentally, if you want to understand economics, capitalism, if you want to understand this business about equity, if you want to understand economic justice, if you want to understand progress relative to these things, then you understand that your money, if you're making an iota of progress, gradually, at whatever pace it happens, increases in worth. Okay, and this again alludes to supply and demand, a fundamental, basic principle, precept of true capitalism, a hallmark. Okay, that's the litmus test. Is it adhering to supply and demand principles? Is the only time any commodity or service increases in cost, in price, in burden, when there's a disruption in the supply chain. You understand? That's the only time your money is supposed to go down in worth. And that should only be temporarily until we, as a purportedly civilized society, rally around the problem and get to the bottom of it quick. Lickety split. Okay? Because it's a bad thing. A bad thing when your money goes down in worth. It's a lie from the pit of hell by liars that work against the best interests of just regular, everyday, normal people that are willing to do their part in society. Or they don't want to just be spinning their wheels, though. They don't want to be on this hamster wheel for no purpose, no reason. They don't want to be hopeless. They want to be rewarded. That's all they've asked for. And they're not getting it. They're getting slapped in the face, kicked in the teeth, and knocked off the ladder. They're trying to climb the ladder, and they're on the bottom rung, and they're trying to reach the second one. And they thought they were almost there, and they had steady work at least, and maybe there was hope. Okay, but I'll tell you what. I mean, they're just kicked down. Look at this corona. It's all about the coronavirus. This one disease out of a plethora of diseases. It's like Catherine Austin Fitts says. It's a plandemic. Okay, they're using it as a cover. I'm not saying this isn't real, but for all we know, they sprayed this stuff out of a plane. Nobody's even paying attention. They think I'm a conspiracy theorist to say they've been geoengineering for decades now, aka chemtrailing, aka they're performing weather modification experiments whereby they can take a perfectly clear blue sky and over the course of a day crisscross patterns, you name it, okay, up there in the sky. I've seen it. Anybody that's been paying attention has seen it. They could turn the sky milky white and gloomy by the end of the day. All artificially. That's right. They have that capacity. This is practically archaic technology. If you look at the guy that's been dubbed the father of weather weapons, this guy Ben Livingston, and said he was spraying, his testimonial that he was spraying for the Air Force, Navy, whoever he was working for in the service, branch of the service. He was spraying he'd find any little cloud in the sky, the tiniest, that's all you need, a little bit of moisture to start with, and he'd spray this concoction up there, and eventually it'd start raining. And the whole idea was they would make it rain on the Ho Chi Minh Trail and make the way difficult for the North Vietnamese communists to come down and fight with the South Vietnamese and, of course, our forces in South Vietnam. So it's, the idea that they could spray a bioweapon up there, come on, how did this thing spread so quick? Nobody, all of a sudden, we don't know. And, they say, it's only a few people. But, of course it was only, they weren't testing anybody. If they had tested everybody the first time they say they discovered this thing, half the freaking people on the planet probably had it and they already gotten over it. And then you start finding people that were succumbing to it because they don't have the antibodies in their system. This is crazy. But we're going to shut down. Look at how they're disrupting people's lives in the food service industry. You know how many people it blows my mind. Do people know how many people are employed in these industries, like the retail industries? Okay, it's incredible. I was thinking about how many guys out there are landscapers in America. We're talking about tens of millions. You know how much demand there is for landscaping? There's one thing people that have a few extra disposable bucks that like to do is take care of their gardens. Okay, people have always valued their gardens, their yards, their landscapes. Okay, you look as far back as you want to go in history, people have appreciated gardens and landscapes. And they do, and so many people are doing that. But if they can't afford their landscaper, what's going to happen to all those landscaping jobs? You understand there's this chain reaction that occurs in the economy. All these driving jobs, there's so many people's lives have been completely turned upside down by this thing economically. And they say, well, we had to do it, and now they're going to give out tickets. So now if you can afford the ticket, you're going to be able, it's like paying bail. As long as you can bow down and pay bail. Look up B-A-A-L. That's where this term B-A-I-L, bail, pay bail comes from. So essentially, if you can afford to be a criminal, it's okay, just so you can pay bail. You understand? That's the religious system we live under. Unbeknownst to the vast majority of people, this is who you're serving. If you're conforming, capitulating to this system, essentially, you're conforming to the beast system. For all intents and purposes, it is. It's devilish. It's diabolical. It's run by clandestine groups that JFK spoke out very vociferously against, okay, pointing out how this goes against every fiber of the American way of life. Okay, these nebulous, nefarious, sinister, secret societies, these haters of humanity, these elitists, these guys that think they're better than you and I, that they're more. Listen, to try for a normal, decent, upright person to get into the minds of these people is virtually impossible. It's good to understand that there's some way out people. We see that all the time. I watch these crime shows and oh my God, how on earth could this woman, this man do these things? I'm so removed. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. You're so removed. You're like, I'd rather be killed any day than to kill somebody else and live with that. There's no way I can live with that. I believe in God. I believe in Judgment Day. I believe in the soul. I believe in conscience. I believe in honor, integrity, reputation. I believe I should care about where I'm going from